In previous lecture, I discussed certain portions of interim budget 2024-25. This is our second part. As you know, in my last lecture, I completely discussed with you trends in capital expenditure, that is grant in aid, creation of capital assets. As you know, state government gets the grants in aid from union government on the recommendations of Finance Commission as well as Niti Aayog. All these grant in aid not currently consumed by the state in their day-to-day expenditure. Some portions of these grant in aid utilized by the state government for the creation of capital. Those grants known as grant in aid for creation of capital assets. This blue represent the capital expenditure and this red and blue represent the effective capital expenditure in lakh crore rupees. If you clearly see this picture, one thing you can understand and you can utilize this one in coming preliminary as well as in your mains examinations. What is that? Effective capital expenditure increasing consistently 4.5 lakh crore rupees to, as you can see, 15 lakh crore rupees. Only it was constant between 2016-17 to 17-18, but later on it is increasing, say 0.2 lakh crore, 1.2 lakh crore, that is 2.0 lakh crore rupees, that is 2.1 lakh crore rupees, that is 2.2 crore rupees, that is 2.3 lakh crore rupees. That is the consistent increase in our effective capital expenditure. Similarly, grant in aid allocated by the union to state government, they are increasing from 1.7 lakh crore to 1.9, again 1.9, again 1.9 in 2019-20. But later on they are increasing consistently and reach up to 3.9 lakh crore rupees. Other part, that is capital expenditure, 2.8 lakh crore, then decline 2.6. After then it is also increasing consistently from 3.1 lakh crore to 3.4 and so on, 11.1 lakh crore rupees for the budget estimate 2024-25. That kinds of trend in capital expenditure. What you can conclude? It means if our government policy you consider, what it show? After 2020-21, our government increasing capital expenditure more sharply. And as you know, if any government, I am not talking only about the Indian government, making more capital expenditure, that will enhance the future development. Means better infrastructure, more development process, more employment generation, more poverty eradication, more efficiency improvement, more competition in the market, all fundamental variables which we are needed for the better performance of our economy achieved through the more capital expenditure. Some extent you can conclude. Now you can see the expenditure on major items of the government of India. Only some point you have to memorize, that is interest payment expenditure, energy expenditure. If you see energy, interest payment, other more important expenditure is, that is subsidy, but only 2 point is more important. You can see 2024-25 budget, our interest payment is 11,90,440 crore rupees, and this is the major item of the government of India. On energy sector, our expenditure is less than our interest payment. That is not the good sign. It means somewhere we should reduce our debt liabilities so that we can reduce this our interest payment expenditure, which is in term of GDP 3.6%. Composition of expenditure, share of total expenditure, you can see by the help of this data diagram that maximum expenditure on interest payment. You can see defense expenditure, and that is subsidy expenditure of the government, that is defense subsidy expenditure. You can compare highest expenditure is your interest payment, then subsidy, and this defense expenditure, pension, etc. You will also see database explanation of this point. As you can see, transportation in a different financial year, rural development, agriculture and allied sector, education, health sector, energy sector, and social welfare. For the financial year, if you consider, I decode this data so that you can easily understand. In 2022-23, our transportation expenditure was in lakh crore rupees 3.91 lakh crore rupees. Rural development was 2.38 in the same financial year 2022-23. Agriculture and allied sector only 1.26 lakh crore rupees. Education 0.99 lakh crore rupees. Health 0.74 lakh crore rupees. Energy 0.66 lakh crore rupees. Social welfare 0.40 lakh crore rupees. What is this? That is our expenditure during the financial year 2022-23, and you can analyze it was maximum on transportation, and you can see all over the year it may be 2023, 24, 24, 25, our transportation expenditure always higher than other expenditure. Second largest expenditure item is the rural development in 3 years. Third is the agriculture and allied activity, then education, then health sector, after then energy and social welfare. It means you are observing here our expenditure on social welfare is minimum and it is maximum on infrastructure development, that is transportation. What it show? It show the futuristic development plan of the government of India. As I priorly decode you, if our more capital expenditure on infrastructure development, that will be better off. Social infrastructure, health, education, sanitation, social sector, agriculture development, rural development, they are collectively, if you see, that are also given the equal importance as the infrastructure development. We are also focusing on the rural development of our economy. Now you can see total transfer to states and union territories, that is also increasing consistently in lakh crore rupees. In 2019-20, total transfer from the union government to state and union territory was 11.45 lakh crore rupees, which is increasing consistently, as you can see, and reach up to 22.75 lakh crore rupees according to budget estimate 2024-25. In the budget estimate, revised estimate of budget 2023-24, it was in actual 20.99 lakh crore rupees or near to 21 lakh crore rupees. Other composition of transfer to state and union territory, if you fragmented that one, that is finance commission, grant in aid, scheme related and other transfer, devaluation from the union to state government on the recommendations of Niti Aayog, etc. Finance commission allocated during the financial year 2022-23, 22-23, 1.73 lakh crore rupees. In the next budget, it declined to 2023-24, 1.40 lakh. Again, it declined to 1.32 lakh. You can see if our finance commission allocating more funds, less fund consistently, what will be the effect? You can analyze. Second, scheme related other transfer that are increasing, which you can see it was 2022-23 7.43 lakh crore rupees. Again in 23-24 it was 8.54 lakh crore rupees, and in 2024-25 budget it further increased 9.22 lakh crore rupees. Means somewhere government are focusing more scheme related transfer. Again, devaluation from union to state government, that is also increasing consistently 9.48 lakh crore rupees in 2022-23 to 2024-25. That is how much? 12.2 lakh crore rupees. It means somewhere total devaluation, if we consider without thinking about the different institutions, that is increasing in favor of state. Now you can see the budget, small savings, and how we are financing our budget. What are the source of finance of the budget? You can see here that market loan out of total receipts 12.28%, small savings, state provident fund and others 4.57%, or you can see this debt receipts 16.85%, capital receipts 17.64%, that is budget size was lakh crore rupees. This is all data in lakh crore rupees, because you can see total budget of 2024-25, our total budget for 2024-25 was 47.66 lakh crore rupees. It means small saving 4.57 lakh, market loan 12.128 lakh, total debt 16.85 lakh, capital receipts 17.64 lakh crore rupees. And in this total gross tax revenue, that is very important for you, because sometime UPSC in preliminary asking the different descending and ascending order receipts from different taxes to the government of India, and you can see here total government tax revenue receipts, that is gross tax revenue receipts, were 38.31 lakh crore rupees. 38.31 lakh crore rupees. Memorize this data. The maximum funds, that is coming from which one? Taxes on income 11.56 lakh crore rupees. Second largest source is GST 10.68 lakh crore rupees. Memorize. Personal income tax contributing 11.56 lakh crore rupees. Second largest contribution contributed by GST 10.68 lakh crore rupees. Third largest contribution by the corporation tax, company income kar, that is 10.43 lakh crore rupees. Rest of the other items of tax revenue receipts of the government of India, that is union excise duty, that is on first position, second position, third position, and this is fourth position. Fourth position, which one? That is union government, or you can say central excise duty. Central excise duty is 3.1 lakh crore rupees. Rest of the custom duty 2.31 lakh crore rupees, other 0.05 lakh crore rupees, taxes on union territory 0.09 lakh crore rupees. Out of this tax collection, 12.20% transfer to the state government and transfer to NDR funds 0.09 lakh crore rupees. In this way, union government net tax receipts are only 26.02 lakh crore rupees. 0.2 lakh crore rupees. Out of this total, some are non-tax revenue collection, that is 4 lakh crore rupees. What are the major source of non-tax revenue? Sometimes that kinds of questions also asking, and you have to memorize that one also. That is dividend and profit 1.5 lakh crore rupees, other 2.17 lakh crore rupees, interest receipts 0.33 lakh crore rupees. These are the total receipts of the budget from capital and from tax revenue and non-tax revenue receipts. Now you can see profile in lakh crore rupees. In lakh crore rupees, you can see this profile in lakh crore rupees. Now see this data. Scheme expenditure 19.96 lakh crore rupees. Scheme expenditure is how much? That is 19.96 lakh crore rupees. Out of this scheme, central sector scheme allocated 14.94 lakh crore rupees. Central sector scheme are these. Centrally sponsored scheme are 5.02 lakh crore rupees, in which core of the core schemes 1.13 lakh crore rupees, core schemes 3.89 lakh crore rupees. Out of central sector schemes, 2.15 lakh rupees goes to general services, economic services 7.8 lakh crore rupees, social services 0.47 lakh crore rupees, other 0.35 lakh crore rupees, and in case of subsidy 4.09. You can see this is the data. Government of India 2024-25 budget. Memorize this point, very important for you for pre point of view. Our government total subsidy expenditure is 4.09 lakh crore rupees. As you know, under the fiscal consolidation program of the government of India, government consistently declining the subsidy expenditure, interest payment and defense, so that we can achieve the desired target of fiscal deficit. Under this subsidy, petroleum subsidy 0.12 lakh crore rupees, food subsidy is the highest due to Pradhan Mantri Garib Ann Kalyan Yojana, that is 2.05 lakh crore rupees, and fertilizer subsidies 1.64 lakh crore rupees. Other subsidies are 0.28 lakh crore rupees. That are the subsidy expenditure of the central government. We are talking about the central government. Now come next issue. Out of scheme expenditure 19.96 lakh crore rupees, centrally sponsored scheme allocated 5.02 lakh crore rupees. Out of this 5.02 lakh crore rupees, the 1.13 lakh crore rupees on core schemes and 3.89 lakh crore rupees on core schemes. The transfer, establishment and other expenditures 27.70 lakh crore rupees. Out of it, that is other centrally expenditure 15.1 lakh crore rupees. Out of this 2 lakh crore rupees on other items, 1.29 lakh crore rupees autonomous bodies, and this interest payment is 11.90. You can again and again observing in your explanation and in my class what government interest payment is highest 11.90 lakh crore rupees. Other parties, that is say establishment expenditure 7.68 lakh crore rupees. Out of it, pension goes 2.40 lakh crore rupees, other is 3.69 lakh crore rupees. Transfer to state 4.82 lakh crore rupees, finance commission transfer 1.32 lakh crore rupees, other transfer is 3.50 lakh crore rupees. That kinds of expenditure structure is there. Now come on the other issue, some important schemes of the government. We are not talking about the allocations of fund, that is very minute observation, no need to go through these kinds of data, no need to go through these kinds of data. Come next portion, that is fiscal policy of the government of India. Fiscal policy of the government of India. That is also very important issue, and you have to understand the fiscal mid-term fiscal policy of the government of India. Why it is necessary? It is very necessary for you for understanding the basic concept, that is I come on the next In my previous lecture, I have discussed certain points, that is strategy for Amrit Kal. I further proceed this point, that is housing. What are the government targeting regarding housing scheme? Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, that is Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin, close to achieve target of 3 crore housing, additional 2 crore targeted for next 5 years. Our target of the government to develop 2 crore additional houses for rural India under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin. That is increased allocation for Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. It was 79,500 during 2022-23-24. In the 2024-25, it was 80,671 crore rupees. Now come on the tourism. What is Government of India policy regarding tourism development? State will be encouraged to undertake development of iconic tourist center to attract businesses and promote opportunities for local entrepreneurship. Long-term interest-free loan to be provided to states to encourage development. G20 meetings in 60 places presented diversity of India to global audience. Long-term interest-free loan to the state government for the encouraging infrastructure development. Encouraging infrastructure development. Similarly, project for ports, connectivity, tourism, infrastructure and amenities will be taken up in Iceland, including Lakshadweep. Strategy for Amrit Kal. That is the development for agriculture and rural development. Agriculture and rural development. Agriculture and food processing industries. Government will promote private and public-private investment in post-harvesting activity. Our government, after the harvesting, promoting what? Private and public investment in post-harvesting means infrastructure, warehousing facilities, cold storage chain, transportation facility, etc., so that we can minimize the leakage in the process of agriculture, marketing, storage facilities, etc. Application of nano DAP to be expanded in all agri-climate zones. That is also the government strategy to nano DAP, new fertilizers, which productivity is more and environmental problem is minimum. Atmanirbhar oil seeds Abhiyan. As you know, India after the Green Revolution unable to achieve the food self-sufficiency or crop sufficiency in 3 areas. That is edible oil, number 1, pulses, number 2, core cereals, number 3, and now the government targeting to achieve the food self-sufficiency in oilseed, and for the purpose you memorize this point, Atmanirbhar Oilseed Abhiyan. This strategy to be formulated to achieve Atmanirbhar for oilseed. Second, comprehensive program for dairy development to formulated. Government also focusing on animal rearing. Our target, as you can, if you go through the previous lecture given by our XY President N. Venkaiah Naidu ji, he always is speaking about the animal rearing and cooperative movement. Ultimate target of these two activities is what? To provide the secondary source to the farmer of income so that they can't come under the stressful situation. That is why the animal rearing or dairy development also government more focus area. Implementation of Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. That is also the part of animal rearing. You know, in UPSC civil service they separately identified the animal rearing, and in previous year in preliminary and mains they are asking the question for the development of fisheries sector, government implemented Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana to be stepped up to enhance aquaculture productivity, double export and generate more employment. Double export, this is the target, and generate the more employment opportunities. 5 integrated aqua parks to be set up. One other point is 5 integrated aqua park to be set up by the government for achieving this target in our economy. Next, increased allocations for blue revolution. What is blue revolution? That is aqua fisheries sector, or that is water based different kinds of product we are producing through aqua, that is allocations for blue revolution. It was allocated for the budget 2023 revised estimate. Budget estimate was 2025 crore rupees. In the 2024-25, government further increased 2352 crore rupees for the purpose of this allocation. For the purpose of this allocation, in case of increased allocation for Pradhan Mantri formalization of micro food processing enterprises schemes, from which one? That is from budget estimate 639 crore rupees to 880 crore rupees for the financial year 2024-25. Resilient performance of Indian economy. Now you can see what is our performance on the basis of macro fundamental variables, and first macro fundamental variables is current account deficit percentage of GDP. If we consider, it doesn't show any kind of certain trend, but we can find out a certain trend in that area. You can see in financial year 2024, our current account deficit was round about 1.6% of GDP, 1.6. It began to fall consistently, and in the 2017 financial year, it was round about 0.7% of GDP, 0.7%. If you see, it was round about 1%, more than 1% more, or you can say 1.3% of GDP. It means between 2014 to 2017, our BOP, balance of payment, current account deficit is what? The difference between three items, export and import. That is commodity, which is known as visible item of trade, or the difference in the export and import of commodity or goods, also known as trade account deficit. Second is services, and third is transfer payment. As you know, since 1947 onward, our service account or export and import of service, our account always in surplus, means our export of services always more than import of services. That is why there is the surplus in our service account, and transfer payment is the third item. That is why our this complete current account deficit decline. After then it increased suddenly during 2018-19 from 1 point, you can say 0.6% of GDP to round about 1.8% of GDP. Again it was more than 2.3% of GDP round about. Again it declined during financial year 2020. Why it is so? Because of international problem in the global economy. After 19, due to COVID problem, again our current account deficit is declined. Why it is that? Our export demand is more in the market. Our domestic demand of import is less. Our current account deficit decreased less than 1% of GDP. It again remained less than 1% of GDP during 2020, and during 2021 financial year. After then it began to rise, and it reached at the highest level of more than 2% during the financial year 2023. Again it declined in the financial year half 2024, and it was round about 1% of GDP. Now you can understand what is the trend in our current account deficit. In our current account deficit, come on the second issue, unemployment rate in India. That is, as you can see, recently in parliament there is the discussion Opposition leaders are criticizing the government that government failed to create adequate employment opportunity, but you can see yourself on the basis of data, adequate data given by white paper of the government of India interim budget, what you can see in 2017-18 unemployment rate was 6.1%. As you know, unemployment rate is what? The persons who are willing to work at current wage rate but are not able to get the employment, they are known as unemployed persons. NSSO use the three different methodology: usual status, general status, and daily status. And as you can see, the unemployment rate in India consistently declining, as it was 5.8% during 2018-19, 4.8% 19-20, 4.2% 2021, 4.1% 21-22, 3.2% presently 2000. This is very important data. What you have to do, you never cram the data, only just you go through multiple times these data, automatically you can recall your questions in your pre as well as mains examinations. And first sight, what you see, the data coming in your brain, that is the exact data. It means if you go through these kinds of data, they will help you to understand the actual scenario of unemployment. After then you can rationally think what is the actual picture, rather than political statement given by different politicians as well as other persons. Now you can see gross non-performing assets. Gross non-performing assets as the percentage of gross advances, which increase consistently from 3.8% to 11.2% between 2014 to 2018. You memorize this one. Our gross net performing non-performing assets was highest during 2018, and it was 11.2% of total capital of commercial and non-banking financial corporation. After then it began to decline consistently and reach up to 3.2% in September 2023. That trend you have to memorize. For the further better understanding, you also memorize these kinds of data. Financial year 16, it was 7.5%, 17, 9.3%, 19, 9.1%, and then it declined. That kinds of trend will give you certain kinds of visionary explanations regarding rising volume of digital transactions. In G20 meeting, when the developed country also visit in India, Delhi, what they observe, a common man in India is using digital means of transactions, and that is why the number of persons who are using digital mean for the transactions are increasing. Say in financial year 2018, it was round about 2000 crore, but in the year 19 it increased up to 3000 crore, and it is increasing consistently and reach up to round about how much you can see, that is round about 13 or you can say 13,500, round about 13,500 crore transactions taking place during the financial year 2024. It shows how much extent our people are preferring cash free economy. They are motivating, and how these digitalizations of the economy are converting, that is informal economy to formal economy, informal economy to formal economy. Now you can see rise in average monthly gross GST collection, as I code you multiple times. In January 2024, you recall your knowledge, you memorize this one. In January 2024, GST collection was 1.74 lakh crore rupees, and it is increasing from 0.9 lakh crore rupees 18 to 1.2 lakh crore rupees 22. 23 it was 1.5 lakh crore rupees, and in financial year 2024 it was at an average monthly 1.7 lakh crore rupees. That is the greater achievement of the government of India. That is also an important point for your understanding. Similarly, headline inflation. Headline inflation is also under controllable limit. As you know, our controllable limit are in between 3 to 6%. And as you can see the data recently and previously, in the financial year 2024, it was 9.4%. It suddenly declined in next financial year 5.8%. Again, it declined in 16, 4.9%. Again, decline 4 to 5% during 17. Again, further decline 3.6%, 18, 3.4%, 19. You can see these 2 years. COVID-19 is also responsible for that kinds of slowdown in the economy, or you can say price were decreasing because of decreasing demand in the economy. But later on, after the government take over the land, this lockdown, again increasing demand began to increase the inflation, headline inflation, but it was only in 2 year 21 23 above the desired limit. In rest of the year it was under the controllable limit. In February, I give you the data, February 2024 it was 5.4. It means now it is also under the controllable limit. That is also the good achievement. As you know, today our RBI Shaktikant Das ji declared the monetary policy, and they are not changing the repo rate. 6.5% remain constant. They are understanding the global scenario as well as the domestic scenario, and our present inflation rate on the basis of consumer price index, on the basis of WPI, both are under controllable limit. That is why there is no change under the monetary policy. They are remaining, maintain all monetary variables like repo rate, reverse repo rate, marginal standing facility, supplementary fund facility, and etc. Like you can say open market, all things are constant. There is no change in any monetary policies. Now you can see achievements of taxation reforms. Direct tax collections more than Terry Bird in last 10 years. That is increasing concern. Number of return file swelled to 2.4 times. Number of returns are also increasing. Faster refunds, you memorize this point, from 93 days to 10 days. Now the processing of refunds of tax dues of the taxpayer in place of 93 during 2013-14 to reduce to only 10 days in the financial year 2023-24. Means now the people who are paying the tax, their refunds will transfer in their account within 10 days. Next point, average monthly gross GST collections doubled to 1.66 lakh crore in financial year 2024. It means between 2014 to 2024, the average monthly GST, as you know, GST implemented in 2017 July, or you can say in 2017 July. In 2017 July, I again come on the same issue. Yes. $1.66 lakh. Increase in tax buoyancy. You know, students, what is the meaning of tax buoyancy? First you understand, after then you can understand the steps of tax buoyancy and its relevancy. As you know, in preliminary, multiple time questions asking based on tax buoyancy. First you understand what is the meaning of tax buoyancy. Means change in tax revenue due to change in tax base. And as you know, tax base is our GDP. Now you can understand, if our GDP say increase by 10%, GDP, our tax revenue say increase by 11%, increase by 11%, what does it mean? Our tax is more buoyant. Our tax is more buoyant in comparison to previous level. And why this tax buoyancy is increasing? If our GDP increasing say 10%, tax revenue collection increase say 11.6%, it will sort out the different kinds of problem. Our revenue deficit will be less, our budget will be in balance, other conditions will always in our favorable. Only the solution of the problem is what? That is the GDP, high GDP growth rate. Means if we are increasing high GDP growth rate, we can sustain all the economic or macroeconomic variable in our economy. Now you understand the tax buoyancy increase state revenue from 0.72 in 2012-16 to 1.22 during the 2017 and 13, or you can say post GST period. Our tax buoyancy increased from 0.72 to 1.22. First, next is benefit to consumer, reduction in logistics cost and prices of most goods and services. Most goods and services, that is the reduction in that kinds of. Further point, positive sentiments about GST, that is the good sign. If our GST collection is increasing, formalization of economy, problem of tax cascading effect is decreasing, people's or common man disposable income is increasing, all these kinds of analytical areas. When you go through my different videos, as I again introduce myself and you know me about, my name is Tejbir Singh, teaching the civil service aspirant, and my hobby is also the to teach the students specifically economy, because economics is my interesting subject. I always try to analyze the different year questions paper so that I can give you the insight for the preparations in economy, and you will definitely better off by go through my lectures as well as online, offline. You can participate in our classes and my YouTube channel, as you know, the Economica IAS. You can write on this YouTube channel any problem, the Economica IAS, and you can contact me on my mobile number 9999237051 for any problem, or 9717048051. You can come in Mukherjee Nagar for offline classes and you can gain the benefit from our classes. Now come on the issue. Positive sentiments about GST. 94% industries, leisures view transactions to GST at largely positive. Positive. 80% of respondents feel GST has lead to supply chain optimization. If supply chain optimization is there, what it will do? It will better of the economy. The major constraints in supply chain always make the economy underperformer, but now the GST is going to improve the supply chain. As per the survey conducted by leading consulting fund on the basis of its empirical study conclude that GST lead to supply chain optimization. Next is decline in important release time since 2019 by 47% at the inland container depots. That is the time lag reduction. If our time is reduction, means efficiency improvement is there in our economy. That is 47% reduction in inland container deposits, 28% at air cargo complexes, 27% at seaports. Now next point is tax proposals. What are the tax? There is no major change in our tax proposal. They are as in our previous budget, but I will discuss all points which are given our finance minister, respected finance minister. Continue to the taxation, certain tax benefits to the startups and investments made by the sovereign wealth funds, pension funds, tax exemptions of some IFSC units is earlier experiencing on 31st March 2024, extended up to 31st March 2025. Again, withdrawal of outstanding direct tax demand up to rupees 25,000 pertaining up to financial year 2010 up to 10,000 for the financial year 2011 to 2015, expected to benefit approximately 1 crore taxpayer of these kinds of relaxations. Retention on same tax rates. As I priorly said you, there is no change in any kinds of tax rates. They are retained by the government. For direct and indirect taxes including import duties, the corporation taxes, again you memorize corporation tax, again government sustained at the previous level 22% for the existing domestic companies, 15% for the new manufacturing companies. No tax liabilities for taxpayers with income up to 7 lakh rupees. If the persons have up to the maximum 7 lakh rupees income, there are no need to pay any kinds of tax to the government of India. Any kind of tax to the government of India. Next, very important issue, that is rupee comes from. Rupee comes from, that is very important for your point of view. Previously I discussed certain point from this topic. Again I will discuss so that you can understand where the rupee is coming, where the rupees goes. You can betterly understand. Maximum receipts of the government in case of taxation, that is from personal income tax. Memorize this point. Out of total 1 rupees receipts, 90 paisa comes to the government from personal income tax. Second largest 18 paisa comes from GST. 18 paisa comes from GST. Memorize this point. Third point, that is maximum revenue. Third largest source is corporation tax. You can memorize in this way. Income tax largest, then GST, then corporation tax. Our income tax is 19% or 19 paisa, 18 paisa, or you can say 17 paisa. These are the three largest source of tax revenue collections of the government of India. Again I repeat, personal income tax 19 paisa or 19% in 1 rupees, GST 18%, corporation tax 17%, or you can memorize simply by reducing 1% from 19, 18 and 17. Second point which you have to understand, that is other taxes. Now you can see other taxes, that is custom duty, union excise duty, and that is known that only two are there, and namely if you see union excise duty contributing 5%, after this 5% the 4% contributed by the custom duty, rest of the non-debt capital receipts are 1%, non-tax receipts are 7% or 7 rupees in total, other part is borrowing and other liabilities, that is the highest of 28% or 28 paisa in 1 rupees receipts of the government of India. Now come rupees goes, or where we are expenditure our rupees, that you can understand with the help of this chart very easily, or you can say this is the pie diagram which is helpful for us to understand the different item. I again code you what are the three major non-productive, or you can say non-plan till 2018-19 budget. We are classifying our budget in plan, non-plan expenditure, but onward we are discontinue that kinds of classifications. Apart from this, you have to understand out of total expenditure, if I identify three major expenditure: subsidy, defense and interest payment. Out of 1 rupees, 20% of 1 rupees is spent on interest payment. Second, 8% of 1 rupees is spent on defense, and 6% of 1 rupees is spent on subsidy. In this way, interest payment is largest, then defense, then subsidy. This is the picture of three major items which I identify for your better understanding, so that you can memorize these 3 points in your for your coming examinations. Other expenditure, centrally sponsored scheme. If I give you the statistic, centrally sponsored scheme 8%, that is finance commission and other transport 8%, central sector scheme 16%. If you compare the two, central sector scheme 16, centrally sponsored scheme 8%. These are the two also major item. Other part is, that is state share in total tax and duties is 20%, that is pension 4%, other expenditure is 9%. These are the total expenditure of the government of India in our budget, which you can understand easily. Now come on the issue, expenditure or allocations by the government for different ministries. You also memorize and you can compare these data for your understanding. First you can see Ministry of Defence allocated 6.2 lakh crore rupees. Ministry of Road and Transportation 2.7 lakh crore, 2.78 lakh crore rupees. Ministry of Road, Transport and Highways. Ministry of Railway allocated 2.55 lakh crore rupees. Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution 2.13 lakh crore rupees. That is the expenditure allocated by the government for different ministry. Ministry of Rural Development allocated 1.7 lakh 77 lakh crore rupees. Ministry of Chemical and Fertilizer 1.68, Ministry of Communications 1.37 lakh, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare 1.2, as you can see 2 point, Rural Development 1.7, Agriculture Development 1.2, or you can collectively think about these two. You will calculate yourself, that is round about 3%, more than 3% allocated for rural and agriculture, 3 lakh crore rupees, more than 3 lakh crore rupees for the development of rural and agriculture development. Allocation of two major schemes in rupees crores. Now you can see Manrega. It was allocated 60,000 crore rupees during previous budget 2023-24. That is the budget estimate for the financial year 2024-25. 86 lakh crore rupees, round about 26 lakh crore rupees increased by the 26,000 crore rupees increased by the government. Prior it was 60,000 crore rupees, now it is 86,000 crore rupees. Again, Ayushman Bharat, Pradhan Mantri Jan Ayushman Yojana, that is PMJY. Under Ayushman Bharat, allocated fund for the health sector, insurance sector, that is 7,200 crore rupees to 7,500 crore rupees, 7,500 crore rupees respectively in the budget 2023-24 and 24-25. Modified program for development of semiconductor and display manufacturing. What are the achievements? Now you can see production linked incentive scheme. Production linked incentive scheme for basically for which one? Export promotion. Product linked incentive scheme. Basically government try to incentivize export, to increase export by that kinds of scheme. For the purpose, government also increased the allocated fund from 4,645 crore rupees during 2023-24 to 6,200 crore rupees during 2024-25, and similarly under this modified program of development semiconductor, allocation fund increased 3,000 to 6,933 crore rupees. 3 crore rupees. Now next is power solar gift grids. Power solar grid allocated fund increased from 4,970 crore 2024-23 to 8,500 crore 24-25. And in National Green Hydrogen Mission, it was allocated 297 crore during the financial year 2023-24 to 600 crore during the financial year 2024-25. Receipts and expenditure. First you see the actual receipts of the government or revenue receipts of the government, then you will see the capital receipts, or you can say revenue receipts plus capital receipts are known as total receipts of the government. As you know, in capital receipts, what are the major five constituents? That is internal borrowing. You memorize that point. Second is external borrowing. External borrowing. Third is small savings, PPF, GPF, small saving public provident fund, general provident fund. Third one is disinvestment. Disinvestment. Third, last one is what? Recovery of loan and advances. Recovery of loan and advances. That are the major constituents of capital receipts. In case of revenue receipts, as you know, tax revenue receipts, tax revenue. Second one is non-tax revenue. Non-tax revenue. In this way, there are the two major constituents of total revenue receipts, that is tax revenue receipts and non-tax revenue receipts. Now you can understand revenue receipts of the government of India. It increased from 23.8 lakh crore rupees actual during 2022-23 to revised estimate 2023-27 lakh crore rupees. It means revenue receipts of the government of India, if there is a question asking by UPSC in preliminary 2024, that revenue receipts are increasing or decreasing. Definitely they are increasing consistently. Similarly, you can see there is no certain trends like revenue receipts which are increasing 2022 to 24-25 consistently, but in case of capital receipts, first they increase between 2022-23 actual to budget estimate 2023-24 from 18.1 lakh crore to 18.7 lakh crore rupees. Further, they decline consistently during the revised estimate budget 2023-24 from 18.7 lakh crore to 17.9 lakh crore rupees. Further, they decline 17.9 to 7.6 lakh crore rupees. You are thinking what kinds of confusing data I am explaining here, but they are not confusing. Only the trend which you have to understand. No need to cram the data, only few data you are needed to understand. You have needed to multiple reading. As my personal experience in UPSC, it may be pre, it may be mains, or it may be interview. I also do the same exercise as you are doing in present for the during my preparation period. I always do right. Why? Because strategy, economics always seems difficult to maximum student, but student, it is the easiest subject if you know the theories, background of the economy, principles of economy, and you begin to analyze the data accordingly on the basis of theories and principle, then definitely you learn the economy. You can represent yourself betterly in your pre, means as well as interview. Today I sum up my lecture. I will further proceed the third part of this my YouTube channel of this budget and trim budget 2024-25 in English medium. Later on I will discuss day-to-day current events up to the preliminary, and I also identified certain preliminary questions which I will prepare and discuss with you accordingly. As my previous experience, the maximum area I would like to cover for your betterment, for your better performance in economy. For the purpose, you can subscribe my channel, you can come on the online, that is the free of cost classes till some days, but after then I will discontinue that kind